All right. So, how's everyone doing today? I'm going to go ahead and wait for some people to go ahead and join in. Since this is one of those just kind of random, unplanned streams. I know it's happening at kind of an awkward point in the day, so anyone who shows up, thanks for showing up. Definitely appreciate it. But yeah, so today, just a broad spectrum of conversation, MGTOW, political banter, whatever, whatnot. If there's anything recent that's happened that you want me to go ahead and talk about, feel free to go ahead and mention it in the chat. I'll be paying attention. If Sin or Dilgaff end up showing up, that would be awesome, but no idea if they're going to be showing up or not. I'm pretty sure that they're busy today, though. So, all right, let's go ahead and start out talking about MGTOW. Now, there have been a few things that I've seen lately that that I haven't talked about in any videos or anything. Sorry about the lack of uploads of videos, but life's been a little bit hectic for me. So, yeah. I'm trying to get back onto a standard release schedule, but until things settle down a little bit, my videos are probably going to be a little bit sparser than usual. So, anywho, I actually watched a video recently where Steve Harvey ended up trying to explain shit to women and failed horribly. From MGTOW files. It was entitled Women Are Angry That Steve Harvey Agreed with Men for Once. Yeah, no, they kind of were. Because the thing is Steve Harvey, if you've ever watched his show, he tends to side with the women quite often. But, I mean, that's how he makes his money. Whatever. It's all good. I've seen him side with men as well. Whenever men get a good burn in, oh, dude, he's like, yes. I mean, you can see the look on his face, even if he doesn't actively say it. But he pretty much doesn't hold back. I got a lot of respect for Steve Harvey, honestly. But the thing is a woman decided she was going to go ahead and bring up, him being on the side of a guy in one of his shows. What the fuck problem is that? I mean, let's go ahead and take a look at, I don't know, something like The View. You get a fucking guy on there? Oh, dude, it's going to be a dog pile. They're going to fucking go after the motherfucker on there. Women tend to naturally side with women when it comes to situations like that, just like men tend to naturally side with men. But it's because the thing is women have this mentality of the constant victim complex, constantly, the world's against them, so on and so forth. Even though this is demonstrably false, MGTOW prove this wrong all the time, but no one seems to want to fucking listen. I guess the truth is a little bit too uncomfortable for them. But on the same note, guys are sitting there. We see what other guys go through. We know what other guys go through. We live it. We breathe it. It's just one of those things that just fucking happens. It's just called life experience. And we see how this shit actually works because guys tend to look at things not so much from an emotional perspective. We tend to look at it more from a logical perspective. Some guys are more on the emotional side of the scale. Don't get me wrong. There are some guys like that. I know some guys like that. Me, I bounce all over the fucking place. I can see things from an emotional perspective, and I can see things from a logical perspective. But when I'm just out and about in the world, I tend to see things from a more logical perspective. And when I'm looking through that logical viewpoint, I look around and I'm all like, how in the fuck are women ever saying that they're being held back in today's society? They're not. They've got everything going for them. And they bitch and complain when guys band together. Why are guys wanting to hang out with other guys? Why are guys agreeing with other guys a bad thing when women want to, you know, hang out with other women and are constantly taking the woman's side, you know, unless they're wanting the D, you know, but you know, they're wanting the, you know, to stay in their own group preference, you know. Yet it's wrong when men do it, but it's okay when women do it. Again, fucking hypocrisy. And I understand own group preference. I understand the concept of it. I understand that it's not just a male female thing. You know, it happens with race, sexual identity, all that sort of fucking bullshit. You know, you tend to group with like-minded people, you know, the whole birds of a feather thing. Fine. That's understandable. You're going to want to group with people that are like-minded, but also at the same time, don't sit there and bitch about people who are not like-minded with you grouping with another fucking group of people and agreeing with them. You know, don't bitch about something that you yourself are doing. Now, if, you know, Steve Harvey was sitting there and, you know, blatantly lying about women, you know, saying all women are child abusers, all women are fucking child molesters, so on and so forth, okay, then I can see, you know, those women getting a little bit fucking upset. All right, I could see that. Why can I see that? Because I get upset whenever I hear fucking feminists say the same fucking shit about men and generalizing all men. Just like when Black Lives Matter sits there and says that all whites are privileged, all whites are, you know, are racist and so on and so forth. It's like, no, we're not. You are taking the smallest subset of these groups, relatively. You are taking the smallest subset and conflating that to include all. Don't do that. Don't ever do that. No one should take you seriously in any aspect of your life if you are known to do that. Like with me, I don't sit there and say all women are evil. I've seen a lot of women out there that have actually done quite a bit of good, who have sacrificed of themselves, who are right there in the trenches, right along with the fucking guys, and they're actually practicing what they fucking preach. They're actually sitting there and holding their own in whatever regard, especially in nursing. You know, nursing is a hard fucking field. There aren't a whole lot of guys there. But I have seen female nurses be able to handle shit that I guarantee you I would snap over. So I have the utmost respect for those women. But then on the flip side, I've also seen women that are sitting there at home playing video games or watching TV, whatever, whatnot, doing jack shit, fuck all, and then bitching that their man doesn't do enough at home while he's out working a 12-hour fucking job 7 days a fucking week because he's working 2 fucking jobs to support her lazy ass and give her and her kids everything that they fucking want. I've seen both sides of the coin. And, you know, it sucks. It's one of those things that just fucking happens, you know. You're gonna have some people that are absolutely fucking fantastic at life, and then you're gonna have some people that leave much to be desired. And again, that isn't a man or a woman thing. That is a humanity thing. You know, that's just down to the fucking individual. Some people awesome, some people are shit. There you go. And it comes down more often than not to poor life choices. And a lot of people are trying to find someone to blame. Don't try to find someone to blame, all right? The only person that's to blame is the individual. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some factors that are external, that are societal factors, whether it be religious, just regular societal, parental, whatever, whatnot. Like I've talked about before, how, you know, children that tend to come from a single mother household tend to end up in prison more often. That doesn't mean that every single mother out there is the worst thing to ever fucking happen to humanity. It just means that a lot of them aren't exactly getting the full job done. but it also makes sense from a parenting standpoint. For example, with my daughter, when my daughter needs to be coddled and so on and so forth, she actually will go ahead and, uh, she'll come to me from time to time. I'm not a completely heartless bastard, but she'll come to me if she needs advice or, whatever, whatnot. Or if she hurt herself or something like that, she'll come to me. She would go to her mother whenever she needed to be coddled after she did something wrong and got yelled at. At that point, it was the whole good cop, bad cop, and her mom was always the fucking good cop. Because her mom was always sitting there and coddling her, oh, it's not that big of a deal, that sort of thing, and would every once in a while come after me in front of our daughter to fucking, try to wear that fucking cape. Whatever. But men tend to be more of the disciplinarian. That's the reason why kids at the younger age tend to be more attached to the mother until they get to around the age of 5 and such. And then all of a sudden they get attached to the father. Then when they get around that time of puberty, they tend to reattach to the mother. Because now they've got all those chemical changes happening. There's a lot that goes on during that time in their life. And so they attach to the mother because they need more of that kind of mother coddle type of thing. And because they're screwing up a lot, dad tends to be on their ass. So, all right, fair enough, It's kind of like how it worked, how if you constantly got people bitching and complaining at you, you really like going to the fucking break room, right? It's the same type of thing. But then when they get up more into their teen years and they're starting to prepare for that later portion of their life, when they're starting to prepare for, going into the workforce or going to college, whatever, whatnot, then they tend to start interacting more with the father again. And why is that? Because they have this innate knowledge that they're going to need some level of disciplinary attitude. They're going to have to know beforehand, because the whole it's easier to ask for forgiveness than for permission doesn't fly. I hate it when people fucking say that shit. It doesn't fly in today's society. Because the thing is in today's society, you fuck up once, guess what? You're labeled. You ain't getting rid of that for at least 6 months. Bare fucking minimum. And that's best case scenario. Whereas, those labels can last for a lifetime if you fuck up on something. Hell, even if you weren't the one who fucked up, but you just took the blame for someone else fucking up, you can be labeled for it. We see this very often. So, to be fair, honestly, a mother and a father both have a role in raising a child. I don't think that a father raising a child on his own is necessarily the best thing, and I don't think that a woman raising a child on her own is necessarily the best thing. Because the thing is they need that balance. They need a masculine figure and they need a feminine figure because they need the balance between the two. And it doesn't matter whether it's a male child or a female child. Yeah, well, the male child tend to, more gravitate toward the mother? Yes, actually. Just like the daughter will tend to gravitate more towards the father. The reason why is because they're getting that the whole opposites attract thing. The thing is the son, the male child, he already has the male mindset. His brain's already functioning like a male because he is a fucking male. Right? So he tends to talk to the mother because the mother is giving an alternative viewpoint. Whereas the girl will go to the father because in those younger ages, she wants an alternative viewpoint. And, we all know that changes later on in life. But hey, at least there, you're getting that alternative viewpoint in there. And if the father does a good enough job, she might continue to want that alternative viewpoint later on in life. But the thing is whenever you have only one parent raising a child, they're only getting that one viewpoint. Now, if it's a father raising a daughter on his own, yeah, she's getting that alternative viewpoint, but she's also not getting the reinforcement from the mother throughout it. So then that can kind of fuck up the situation. And the inverse is true for the male, you know? If the male only has a mother figure in their life. And that's one of the things where when a lot of people are talking MGTOW, I notice that a lot of them don't acknowledge this. And it kind of saddens me a little bit, because the thing is in a lot of ways, MGTOW is kind of that voice of reason for guys. But the thing is, you have to be honest about it. You have to tell the inconvenient truths on both sides. And the thing is you actually have to tell the truths, because the thing is a lot of false information is out there about not only MGTOW, but just men in general. There's a lot of misinformation about women, but the thing is the misinformation about men and MGTOW tends to be very negative false information. Whereas with feminism and women, it tends to be positive lies, making them seem better than what they are. And that's just me describing gynocentrism, period. Or should I say the result of gynocentrism. And that sort of mentality actually has led to a problem that Dilgaff constantly brings up in his videos and his streams. And that is the narcissistic mindset, where women think that they can do no wrong, that men should capitulate to them always and forever, no matter what's going on, that a man should never fucking go against her. That's what she's actively thinking. But the thing is also at the same time, that's actually harmful to women as well, because they're actively thinking this, but subconsciously they're wanting the guy to go against her, to take charge, to sit there and put his fucking foot down. We've seen this constantly throughout history, and you see it with women. I've seen women sit there, describe that situation to a fucking T, yet not understand it themselves, even though it's coming out of their own fucking mouth. But that comes with the narcissistic mindset. And men, we're not immune to that shit. I mean, a lot of guys, sit there and say, oh yeah, I just want some easy pussy and that sort of thing. Well, that's not always necessarily true. I've seen a lot of guys that end up, feeling kind of like a void type of thing, and going into multiple midlife crises as opposed to just having the one, because they're looking for something to fill that void. So they end up either turning to drugs or alcohol or something along those lines, trying to fill that void, trying to fill that lack of endorphin rush that a lot of people get when they feel fucking love. And the thing is that's the worst thing you can fucking do, because now you become dependent on that instead of becoming dependent on another fucking person. Now you're dependent on something that's costing you money. I know another person costs you money, but you're sitting there and being dependent on something that's actively working against your best interests. Whereas with a woman, she's not going to necessarily work against your best interests, because the thing is your best interests, like you succeeding, means she gets more shit. So in that way, women are one rung above alcohol abuse. All right? I mean, if we're talking about relationship for guys as far as risks and concerns. And the same goes for guys. A guy, will want a woman to, keep herself in shape, be beautiful, so on and so forth, keep up that fucking neoteny. Because not only does it benefit him, but also at the same time, the better she feels about herself, the more pussy he tends to get. Studies have shown this. A lot of the time, you know, a woman, you know, starts feeling unattractive, even though she might be completely fucking attractive. You know, she might be a 10 out of 10. If she feels that she's unattractive, then she's going to automatically assume that the guy that she's with is thinking the same thing, but he's just being too nice and not saying anything. So that's that's another issue for another fucking rant. But, you know, it's just one of those things. Guys have their problems that they need to work through. Women have their problems that they need to work through. But the thing is, we're too busy bitching about the other's problems to fucking work on our own shit. And it needs to stop. Now, with MGTOW, we've gotten rid of a little bit of the fucking issue because, well, a lot of male issues nowadays kind of orbit around women. Or should I say, they orbit around the acquisition of a woman's affection. The reason why I say that is because, you know, these guys that want this, you know, super high-end job, why do they want it? Do they really need all that extra money? Typically, no. Not unless they got a lot of fucking medical bills that they got to fucking take care of, which, Lord knows, you know, one visit to the hospital can get you into that situation. But the thing is they don't necessarily need all that. But the thing is it's ingrained in our DNA pretty much to gather up a bunch of resources. Why? Because that makes us more attractive to a mate. Pure and simple. It's our own biology, you know, going into fucking overdrive. But the thing is MGTOWs kind of get rid of that. You know, we see the world for what it is and we see what's going on. And so we get to the point where eventually we're all like, yeah, I really don't want that as part of my life. And all of a sudden that subconscious drive goes away. And so we're better. So then we're sitting there, we're all like, hey, I have enough money to live. I have enough money to do my hobbies. I'm happy. I don't need to earn this massive fucking amount of wealth. I'm living a comfortable life. I'm good to go. I don't have to impress anyone else. So there you go. It's nice and simple. But the thing is guys that aren't MGTOW, guys that are still blue-pilled, or even guys that are purple-pilled, hell, even some red-pill guys are sitting there and just constantly trying to gather all this stuff. And they're all like, why am I working myself to the fucking bone for no reason? I'm not doing something that I love to fucking do. I'm not doing something that doesn't feel like work. So why am I fucking doing this? I don't need all this extra shit. Yet they continue to do it. Well, now you got your answer. But then you've got men that will sit there and do way less than what they need to do. You know, I mean, you've always got those two ends of the spectrum that are going to happen. And so with those guys, then they sit there and they ask why, you know, they don't have this, that, or the other, or they don't have the time or the money or the resources to go ahead and do all this. It's all like, well, I'm sorry, dude, you can't just, you know, skate through life. Unfortunately, that is part of the reality of society. But also at the same time, it's all like with me, I sat there and I did the calculation. For me to live comfortably and to be able to afford all my shit, to be able to afford all my habits, at least to a reasonable degree, I would need to make around $20,000 a year. That's not too bad. I mean, hell, a part-time job can go ahead and get you that, or even a full-time job, depending on, you know, what the pay is, what field you're in, so on and so forth. But the thing is you see a lot of guys that go well above and beyond, and they don't even know why. Then you end up getting those same guys who are sitting there, and if they are red-pilled, and, you know, they're all like, no, there's a big fucking issue with me getting into a relationship with a woman. I stand to lose a lot, all of that sort of thing. And then all of a sudden they have a bunch of women, you know, coming out of the fucking woodwork and just trying their best to get their claws into him. He's all like, why the fuck do you want me now? It's all like, because now you have the fucking resources, motherfucker. You overdid it. Now you made yourself a giant walking target. Like I've said in previous videos, don't make yourself a walking target. Period. End of story. If you make yourself a target, don't be surprised when people start taking pot shots at you. Because the thing is you are now incentivizing them to come after you. Now, that doesn't mean hold yourself back. I mean, if you're excellent at, you know, if you make an excellent doctor or an excellent surgeon or something like that, and you go into that field, by all means, do so. Lord knows we need better doctors and surgeons out there right now. But at the same time, don't be surprised when other men and women come after you trying to get your resources. It's just one of those things that fucking happens. You know, other guys trying to sit there and knock you down because they feel like they just don't measure up, even though you're not in competition with them, you're in competition with them. Because the thing is even if you're not playing the game, women are now looking off of the fucking game board for pieces that are sitting there that just look better. Even if you're not playing the game, they're trying to pull you into it. Which is understandable. I mean, once you take male and female nature into account, okay, cool, you know. You're sitting there, you're following your nature being this fucking gatherer, you know, this hunter-gatherer person. And then a woman sits there and sees you doing that, she's going to assume that you're playing the fucking game. And so she's going to come after you. She's going to follow her nature. It's not necessarily anything vindictive. It's just, again, nature. But if you're one of those guys, you know, like you go out and you get yourself working, you know, a quote unquote regular job, you know, basically we're talking retail or something like that. And you end up saving up a lot of money. You buy yourself a really nice car and that sort of thing. When you're out in that nice fucking car and in somewhat nice presentable clothing, and then all of a sudden you start getting some fucking attention, well, you're putting out this persona of, hey, look at me, I'm successful, I'm this, I'm that, and da 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 da, and you're peacocking. Whether you're peacocking on purpose or by accident, doesn't matter. You're peacocking, and so you're going to get that attention. And so be prepared for that. Like with me, I don't buy super high-end cars or anything like that. I don't. What I do is I buy myself a nice functional truck, but it's not one of these trucks, you know, that sits there and, you know, the reflection off the thing, you can see it from fucking space, all that shit. Because the thing is, I don't want to draw that attention to me. Although it's been kind of weird lately, because a couple of the people where I live, hey, how's it going, Neo? But a couple of the people where I live actually subscribe to my channel randomly. And I actually went into the tobacco store to go ahead and buy my tobacco for my cigarettes. I know you guys want me to fucking quit cigarettes. I get it. I understand. But anywho, I went in there, and actually one of the girls behind the counter is one of the ones that subscribes to my channel. And she recognized me, and she started flipping the fuck out. Not in a bad way, but she was all like, oh my God! But I mean, I understand that, because the thing is I've actually met Lachlan. I don't know if any of you know Lachlan, whether you're watching after the fact or anything like that. I've actually met him live. He lives in my area. And me and him actually were talking during a Pokemon release. But yeah, we ended up meeting. And so I had that kind of same thing. It was interesting. Let's see. Neo says, I just got a Ford Taurus. It feels nice to drive something nice. Yeah, I agree. I agree. But the thing is, you can have something nice, man. But, you know, it's still nice to drive and that sort of thing. Like a Ford Taurus, it's not one of those, hey, look at me trucks. It's a very functional truck. It's a very nice truck. Don't get me wrong. But the thing is do you have fancy rims on it? Do you have, or do you have like, you know, fucking loud ass exhaust or anything like that? Probably not. You don't really strike me to be the type for that, Neo. And so the thing is, you're not necessarily trying to, you're not necessarily trying to garner attention. You're just buying something nice for you. Now, sitting there and like, if I was to sit there and buy like Corvette or something like that, and then I was to bitch about all of a sudden getting attention, that's the type of shit I'm talking about, you know, where I'm sitting there and going, oh, you know, yeah, you can buy something that's plain but nice. Like me, I'm more about, does it feel good to drive? You know, like, does it drive smooth? Does it get decent gas mileage? Does it have a decent suspension on it? Is it functional? Does it get me from point A to point B in comfort, not necessarily style? That's what I'm saying is the difference between peacocking and just buying yourself something nice for you. You know, rewarding yourself for your success. Which you have to do, people. Honestly, anyone watching this, if you're having a good run of it, buy yourself something nice. Not necessarily something that's, hey, look at me, but buy yourself something nice. Reward yourself. A lot of people don't do that anymore. They're so afraid to reward themselves for doing well. Yeah, Neil, I agree with you. I know I don't know exactly which like Ford Taurus body style you got because I've seen like 3. But yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly with you, man. I mean, it definitely does have a touch of class, but it's not completely out of the fucking thing. Hey, Dilgaf, how's it going? Oh man, hey Dilgaf, you want to go ahead and join in? Ah, fuck you, dude. Right as I fucking say it, he says I can't do a live stream. Bitch boy needs to go ahead and get his sleep. I understand, man. But yeah, no, anyone who didn't see Dilgaf's little mini stream from earlier today, I recommend you go ahead and go and watch it. He had some good points in there. But yeah, like Dilgaf said, you know, 28-inch spinners with an 8-inch exhaust, supercharger out the bonnet, sticks to the road like shit to a blanket and gets her skirts up quicker than a Bangkok whore. Yeah, no, you see, that's the type of shit, that's peacocking shit. That's the type of shit where you're all like, okay, I have no reason to bitch when I get attention. But usually you buy something like that to get attention, whether it be a subconscious purchase or a conscious purchase. You know, it's just flaunting your shit. Going for a luxury apartment next year, washer and dryer in the apartment, parking in the building and clubhouse included. Yeah, well, you see, having a nice place is very different from having like a nice car or something like that. Peacocking, yeah, you know, if you buy yourself a fucking McMansion, all right, yeah, you know, people are going to be all like, oh, well, who's living there? And then they're going to see you, and then all of a sudden you're going to get fucking all sorts of shit. Or if you invite someone over to hang out and that sort of thing. But that's much more rare than buying yourself a souped up car or a souped up truck, you know, something like that. Or, you know, having like the latest high-end gadgets that you've got hanging off you like a fucking goddamn Christmas tree. You know, I've seen people do that. I've seen people buy a whole bunch of like these super high-end electronics, or they're walking around with their iPad or whatever, whatnot, and people, you know, start giving them attention. You know, they've also got super nice clothes, so on and so forth. people start giving them attention. They're like, why can't people just leave me alone? It's like, dude, you're crying out for attention with all that shit. So like, stop. Just stop. Don't sit there, buy stuff that's gonna get you a bunch of attention and then bitch when it gets you attention. You know? But at the same time, you know, like I said, don't be afraid to buy yourself some nice things. It's just, don't buy the stuff that's super hyper noticeable, the stuff that's like super trendy and that sort of thing, where you spend a whole fuck ton of money on the thing, and it's more of a status symbol than anything else. Hey, how's it going, Holy? But yeah, you know, don't sit there by yourself all that shit and then you know, bitch and complain when it gets you attention, because the thing is, at that point, the only reason why you buy that shit is because you want the attention. Dilgaf says, right, you know my car's a Nissan Skyline, right? But it's a drift machine, not a pussy magnet. But yeah, when it comes to people going ahead and doing that shit, you know, I'm all like, you're kind of doing it to yourself. But like with me, I sat there and I started making my videos showing my face, because the thing is I'm really not afraid of people knowing my face and all that sort of thing. I wasn't doing it for attention. Honestly, I never expected my channel to even get up to the level that it's at now. I expected people to sit there, you know, pop in as far as a little curiosity thing, and then all of a sudden, you know, just pop right back out and go, oh, it's just a fat fuck bitching and complaining about video games or whatever strikes his fancy. But apparently you guys like watching the fat ass bitch about things that strike his fancy, so who knew, right? But no, it's like when I have people recognize me around my hometown, it's actually kind of weird, because the thing is it used to be in my hometown, people would recognize you just because the area was so fucking small, you know. It's all like where I live, we were a very, very tight-knit community up until very recently, and pretty much everyone knew everyone through like one link or less. And now we're getting more towards that kind of city type of thing, where there's a lot of people that just don't really know each other. But the thing is now, you know, I've got people recognizing me from my YouTube channel, or, you know, from speaking gigs that I've done locally. And it's just like, that's not the type of attention that I want. I want people to, you know me for me, you know, as like a personal thing, as opposed to knowing me as, you know, a YouTuber. I mean, does it give a boost to the ego? Of course it does. I'm not going to say that it doesn't. Oh, yeah, no. Neo said, everyone needs a fortress of solitude, especially MGTOW. I can't agree more with you, man. All right, have yourself a good one, Dilgaff. Have yourself a nice night. Get some good sleep. Talk to you later. I don't know if Dilgaff, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do a stream on Monday. I'll go ahead and I'll get with you, but I might have something that's that I have going on, but I'll let you know. But yeah. When I sit there and I talk about MGTOW, though, a lot of people are asking me whether or not it's just a philosophy that I have as far as relationships, or whether it's a political philosophy. That's actually a hard question to ask. Because the thing is as far as relationships are concerned, yeah, of course I have the MGTOW philosophy as far as relationships are concerned, but I'm not that, you know, I guess you would call staunch MGTOW. I guess that's what you would call it. You know, I as far as like equating it to something like a staunch feminist, where you're completely immovable on shit. but also at the same time, it's all like, if you're going to sit there and you're going to argue with me, at least with at least with the whole relationship thing, if you're going to argue, at least take into consideration the facts. Don't come at me with, you know, strictly anecdotal evidence and then, you know, and then think that that somehow is going to derail my views. Don't do that. Now, on the political side, as far as the political is concerned, I guess I'm a little bit closer to MRA than I am anything else. Because the thing is I'm one of those ones, I want the problems to get fixed. But the thing is I know that as far as the political scale is concerned, Holy Blade says, for me, MGTOW is a front to bitches and also a stance. Fair enough, fair enough, fair enough. But as far as the political aspect is concerned, like I said, I'm more an MRA because I want the problems to be fixed. And I know that with the current political and social environment, which the social environment is actually shaped somewhat by the political environment, because, you know, society is also shaped by laws, both written and non-written, whether you're talking about legal laws or social laws. But the thing is the legal law does shape society to a degree. And with the way that the current laws are set up, it's shaping society to be gynocentric. It's forcibly doing so. And so here we are. Now we've got men sitting there realizing that they've been getting the shit end of the stick for quite a while now, that the legal system is actually working to literally take you down a few pegs so that way women can compete. And so that's a problem. Because here's the thing. Think of it this way. If you're in a sports competition, and I'm not talking about something like golf where they have a handicap, but I'm talking about shit like the Olympics, right? Where it's based off of sheer skill. And in some unfortunate cases, drugs. But anywho, but when it's based off of sheer skill, it's the most skilled person wins. That's how it's supposed to fucking go. There are no handicaps. Well, the thing is if someone did get a handicap in the Olympics, right? So let's say, you know, there was a person that was doing the 100 meter, right? I think the 100 meters a thing. I don't know. I don't watch the Olympics, but I'm just using it as an example. But let's say someone's doing a 100 meter dash, right? You got 5 people fucking running it, and one of the people gets a 20 meter head start. Well, if that person wins, is that gold medal going to mean anything? I mean, truly, is it going to mean anything? No, it is not. They did not fully earn it. The thing is when you give a handicap to someone, when you sit there and say, oh, you get this leg up on your competition from the get-go, then their success is now lessened. But the thing is if that person loses, now they're viewed even more harshly for losing. It's all like, we gave you everything you needed to fucking win, and you still fucking lost. And so here we are. Neo says, I consider it a place of safety. I'm assuming MGTOW there. MGTOW is a protective stance against the power imbalance between men and women. Very true. Women have too much power in legal and social environment. Again, very true. Very true, Neo. I fully agree with you on that. And the thing is women know it. That's the thing. A lot of women know that they have a lot of that fucking power. And they flaunt it, you know, like there was one where a woman was I saw this one video where a woman was getting up in a guy's face, you know, just yelling and screaming in his face, knowing that if she was a man and did that same fucking thing to this guy, she would be missing teeth in a heartbeat. But the guy's sitting there telling her to back off, telling her to back off. And he didn't react until she shoved him. She shoved him. He took a step back, said, back off. She went to shove him again, and he shoved her. And then she sits there and tries to play the fucking victim, acting like she had done nothing fucking wrong. Now, why is that? Oh, because boys are told not to hit girls when they're young. That's a thing that starts out very early on. You know, boys don't hit girls, blah, right? But the thing is, girls are not told to not poke the bear. Girls aren't told, hey, you fuck with a man, that whole don't hit a woman thing goes flying out the fucking window. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're lying bleeding and whimpering down on the fucking ground because you just went after something that's faster, stronger, and meaner than you. And why are they not told that? Well, again, because the laws are set up to where the woman is the protected class. And so it leads to that narcissistic, I can do no wrong mentality. So the thing is like I've said in previous streams, in previous videos, when you give a handicap to a group of people, you are actually hurting them. And I don't see why people can't fucking understand that. Because the thing is if you give them that handicap, then they're not going to gain any strength. In fact, they are going to lose strength. They are going to start using it as a crutch. Once they start using it as a crutch, then they can't live without it. Because they're too weak to live without it at that point. And who's the one that weakened them? It's not them necessarily, because they didn't know any better. If they were raised with all that shit, they don't know any better. They think that everyone has that fucking crutch. They have that mentality. It's their own confirmation bias. That's why I absolutely fucking hate any affirmative action bullshit. Whether it be involving, you know, men and women hiring quotas, or, you know, minority hiring quotas, or, you know, anything along those lines. You know, just insert initiative here. The thing is that weakens people. I understand, like, when blacks were first coming out of slavery, you know, having some stuff there, you know, to, you know, make people at least give them a chance at first, because there were a lot of people that were having some issues there. But the thing is in today's society, that's not a thing. So it needs to go. Because at this point now, it's growing that animosity. And then you've got people that are sitting there and lying to these groups that have these special privileges. Which they are. They are special privileges. Whenever you're allowed to do something that no one else is allowed to do, that is called a privilege. That is something that it wasn't earned. You being born a certain way does not mean that you earned something, because you didn't decide to be born that way. You didn't decide any of that shit. None of that is of your doing. So you don't deserve shit for it. You existing does not entitle you to shit. Period. End of story. What you do with your life is what entitles you to shit. That's how you earn your way through. So if you're constantly working your fucking ass off, Holy Blade says, I hereby decree affirmative action to burn at the stake. So according to Holy Blade, affirmative action is a witch. But the thing is honestly, when you sit there and when you give a group of people a leg up on the competition and say, oh, well, you know, they've been held back before. Well, that doesn't mean that that they're being held back now. Do you get that? It's one of those things where just because something happened in the past does not mean that it's still happening now. I mean, hell, Mount St. Helens blew the fuck up quite a while ago. Does that mean it's still blowing the fuck up now? No. No, it's not. It happened in the past. It's something that you can make note of. Yes, of course. And it's great to make note of the destructive capability of it. But sitting there and saying that the people of Mount St. Helens need to be evacuated now because it exploded back then is just sheer stupidity. Well, it's the same fucking thing with affirmative action now. Yeah, some negative fucking shit happened in the past, so now we're going to go ahead and punish the people of the present and the future. That's stupid. Since pretty much no one in today's day and age has taken part in any of that negative shit. No one was around for that shit. Everyone agrees that it was fucking bad. So why in the hell are you punishing the people now for it? Why? For what reason? What purpose? There isn't one. And, you know, it's just, it frustrates me because the thing is I know that this is holding everyone back because of the pure and simple fact that this is keeping people from gaining their own strength. It's giving them crutch after crutch after crutch. It's making them dependent on these unfair rules. So when these unfair rules are taken away, all of a sudden, a load of failure is coming down the fucking road, straight at your fucking face. And remember, reality, society as a whole, doesn't give a fuck about your feelings. What it gives a fuck about is what you can and cannot do. So if you are able to compete, then you're going to get recognized for being able to compete. But if you can't compete, you're going to get left in the dust. And the reason why I'm bringing this up in a MGTOW stream is because MGTOWs, remember, even though you don't have to gain this super high-end job or anything like that, you don't have to. Because the thing is you're free. You're not running that super high risk that is typically associated with having a cock and balls. Now, if you were born with no working legs, the thing is that's where Holy Blade says he would roll. If you were born without working legs, the thing is that is an actual disability. Being a woman, you know, being born a woman, being born black, being born Asian, whatever the fuck minority you might be, is not a disability. Being born without working legs, that's a disability. But the thing is, there are people that have been born without arms and legs that have been able to pull their own weight. So even at that point, still not the best excuse in the world, because you can sit there and point to some, be all like, look, this person overcame that disability. And those people got more respect than someone who was born with working legs. And that exactly proves the point I was talking about before. If you overcome adversity, you are respected more than people who didn't have to overcome that adversity. But if you are given a leg up on the competition, but I'm given the statement, but if you're given a leg up on the competition and you still don't win, guess what? Now people are looking at you going, you had every fucking opportunity to win. What the fuck happened? You're more worthless. But the thing is if you're facing adversity and then you fail, then people are all like, well, you were fighting an uphill battle. So the thing is you're not going to be shamed or anything like that. People are going to be understanding. So it's a road that goes both ways, and it becomes very apparent as to which way you're going to go with it. If someone's fighting adversity, then guess what? They're going to be more respected just for even attempting to fight the adversity. And when they succeed, they're going to be celebrated from the rooftops, from the mountaintops. That's the reason why men are so fucking celebrated, because people even subconsciously know men have got an uphill fight from the moment they are fucking born. Hell, we have the disability of our fucking genitals being chopped up legally. That's pretty fucking early on in our lifespan for something fucked up to happen to us, right? And it just gets worse from there. We're not allowed to fight back if the person is of the opposite gender. We're not allowed to be emotional, yet we're expected to understand emotion. I mean, just all the way down the fucking line. And it's like everything that we're supposed to do, we're not supposed to do at the same fucking time. So we can't win for losing. So when we succeed in this fucking shit, guess what? When we succeed, we're celebrated. When women succeed, it's all like, well, you were hired because of affirmative action. Or, oh, well, you got this job because you're a fucking woman. So on and so forth, all the way down the line. And then women are like, well, why aren't we being celebrated? It's all like, because it's shit that you are naturally inclined to do. All right, Neo said you should try to aspire to do well. Money and class gives you comfort and privacy. Not necessarily, Neo. Now, I'm not going to disagree with you entirely on this. But the thing is if you have a whole lot of money, then you're going to have a whole lot of people that want your fucking money and are going to be willing to do a lot to fuck you over for it. Class gives you a bunch of attention. Now, if you're one of those people that thrives off of attention, by all means, go for it. But if you're not, then What do you mean, John, as far as your medical issues? I'm not saying that it will always fucking happen. I'm saying you're more likely to have yourself be celebrated when you succeed despite adversity. And there's plenty of examples of that. But the thing is when you have money and you have class, the thing is at that point, you're going to have a lot of people wanting shit from you constantly. They're going to be pestering you. So there goes your privacy. I mean, just look at celebrities. They're not allowed to any level of privacy whatsoever. You know, I mean, thanks to tabloids and so on and so forth. So the more popular you get, the less privacy you have. That's the reason why a lot of celebrities become exceedingly paranoid. And I can understand it. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. You know, you're going to get paranoid once you're a celebrity. And as far as money's concerned, I'm a prime example of how the political matrix can overwhelm and take over a man's perception of reality. Actually, I'm sitting there and I'm just looking at how the laws are set up and how they actually pan out, dude. I'm actually looking at the statistics. So nice try, dude. I'm also looking at the effects, like when social changes ended up fucking happening and when certain laws were passed. I'm not saying that the laws specifically caused it. I'm saying that they acted as a catalyst. Have you forgotten what the purpose of MGTOW is and that you don't have to waste your time, money, and energy on bullshit like politics and women? Well, the thing is my channel is there to show people what's going on. You know, it's one of those things where people are all like, well, what the fuck is MGTOW? You know, and then they go ahead and they read a fucking wiki page on it, and it's all like, oh, it's a bunch of men that just hate women. No, 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 no. Like me, I don't fucking hate women. I don't have an issue with women. I view them just as regular humans like everyone else. You know, just like every man out there, I view every woman as a human with their flaws and their strengths. But as far as politics are concerned, you have to admit there's a lot there that will go ahead and actually give women a leg up in the competitive world. In the social world, there's a lot that fucking gives women a leg up on men. Pure and simple. It's not the hardest thing in the world to understand. But the thing is, you have to be willing to see it. All the thing is if those don't pop up in their feed and my channel does, then I'll be an introductory, and then they'll find links to other MGTOW videos through the logarithm. So it doesn't hurt anything. But the thing is MGTOW, just like any other viewpoint on the world, there's many differing ways of men being MGTOW. It's them going their own way. I'm not saying that anyone has to follow my path. In fact, I would be insulted if someone followed my path down to the fucking letter. Because the thing is, they're not the exact same way as me. I'm different from everyone else. I'm saying find your own path and go your own way. But don't sit there and just go along with the popular view. But also at the same time, be allowed to have your own view. Make sure that you're allowed to have your own view, to have your fucking voice heard. If you don't like my contact, Morty, then you can go ahead and leave. I don't have a problem with that. But when I sit there and I apply MGTOW to political and social views, that's nothing really new. But also at the same time, it's coming from a different perspective from those others. There are some things that I agree with other MGTOWs with, and there are some things that I disagree with them on. But anywho, as far as being yourself and going your own way, honestly, don't be afraid to be yourself. If you want to go ahead and buy yourself some nice shit, by all means, go for it. But just remember, there's going to be consequences for every choice that you make. So if you're one of those people, you want to kind of fly under the fucking radar, Hawkboy says, how can any woman be happy with a man when he insists on treating her like a perfectly normal human being? Oscar Wilde. But like I was saying, if you go ahead and you are one of those people that's wanting to fly under the radar and you buy a bunch of shit that garners you attention, you're working against your own self-interest there. Just saying. I mean, you know, don't dress like a bum or anything like that, you know, obviously. But, you know, at the same time, you know, you don't have to have that super high-end suit. You don't have to have that fucking $200,000 car. You know, it's all like, find yourself a medium. You know, find something that you like, but not necessarily something that's necessarily meant to impress other people, unless that is your goal. At which point, if that's your goal, then by all means, go ahead, go out there and do it. But I've seen a lot of men that have gone ahead, wanted to fly under the radar, and then decided that they were going to go ahead and buy those high-end things. And then all of a sudden, when they started getting all this unwanted attention, they go, well, why am I getting all this unwanted attention? It's like, you kind of drew the attention to yourself, dude. But when it comes to the legal aspects of it, make sure to cover your ass. I mean, if you are going to go out and date, if that is your choice, be smart about it. Actually look into the person that you're going to be dating. Don't just trust them right off the bat. Anyone who expects you to just trust them right off the bat, their expectations of life are a little bit too high there. Just a little bit. The thing is do you trust people on some basic level? Yeah, to a degree. But the thing is you also need to be cautious of a person until you really know that you can trust that person. You'll know when you can trust that person. But even if you trust that person, just remember there's always that chance. You know, always have that in the back of your mind. Because the thing is when you 100% trust a person, then you're not only are you putting a lot on them, but also at the same time, you're kind of setting yourself up for disappointment. Because we are humans, we're flawed, we'll screw up from time to time. But when it comes to women, women have a very, very good chance of fucking you over. Like, if they want to, they can. The tools are there. And so just be cautious with that. Be very mindful of your surroundings. Be very mindful of the people that you're hanging out with. Just be cautious. I'm not saying, you know, oh, you just completely, you know, disregard society and become a fucking hermit. I'm not saying that. No, 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 no. For some of you, you might be happier that way. If that's what you want to do, fine, go ahead and do it. Just make sure you're capable of pulling it off. But I don't know a lot of people that can really pull that off. Neil brings up a good point. He doesn't get too flashy. He just gets quality. All right, and that's fair enough. You can get high quality stuff that isn't flashy. Like me, I have my phone. My phone, it's a high quality phone. I got myself a Note, and you know, it works exceedingly well. It has all the features that I need. But I didn't get one of those super flashy cases. My case is actually very bland, very, you know, it doesn't really pull a whole lot of attention. But then you get people that get the blinged out cases and all that sort of thing. That sort of shit is meant to get you attention, you know? Like I buy okay clothing, but I don't buy anything that's really gonna jump out at people. Hey, Johnny, how's it going? Basically just talking about MGTOW and political stuff, you know, just kind of a banter session. Honestly, Johnny, I think you would actually like the topic that we had before going on. So I highly recommend you watch the first part of the fucking stream when you get a chance. But yeah, right now we're kind of retouching on peacocking in general, and, you know, don't buy the super flashy shit if you don't want attention. If you do want attention, then by all means, go ahead and do that. Just be prepared for it. You know, be prepared for the positive and negative attention. And also just generally talking about, you know, if someone is, you know, fighting against adversity, you know, if they've got that uphill battle, you know, they're going to be more celebrated when they succeed than someone who had the advantage at the beginning and then succeeded. And how the converse is true, where if someone's fighting against adversity and end up failing, people are going to recognize that they had the uphill battle. And then at the same time, if someone who has the leg up on the competition ends up failing, people are going to be all like, what the fuck happened there? How in the fuck did you fail even when you had the fucking advantage? You know, it's just one of those things. But when people sit there and try to say that I shouldn't waste my time on women, like Morty did earlier, I'm not wasting my time on women. What I'm doing is I'm sitting there and I'm showing guys that no, it's not just you. You actually have a little bit of a handicap as far as society is concerned, as far as law is concerned. It's not just you. You're not being oversensitive about it. This is actually a fucking thing. And that is part of MGTOW, is recognizing that. Because being part, being a MGTOW, a lot of people are all like, oh, well, this is what a MGTOW is. No. There are some basic things there, but the thing is people go down their own path in MGTOW. But there are some things you got to go ahead and, they got to recognize what's going on around them so they can choose their path. I mean, if you're sitting there and you're walking down nature path, you're going to want to know what obstacles are going to be there before you start out, right? If you got a choice of several different paths, you're going to want to know which path is the easy path, which path is the intermediate path, and which path is the holy shit, I'm going to have to do fingertip grip wall climbing up a 400-foot cliff. You want to know that shit. It's just one of those things. And that's one of the things that I do on my channel is I go ahead, I show, hey, here's the type of shit that can go wrong. Here's the things that are fucking going on in today's society. Fairly simple. I'm not telling anyone what path to choose. I'm just sitting there and saying, here's what you're going up against in general. So keep that in mind while you're figuring out your way. But the thing is, I'm not one of those people that's sitting there and trying to change women. I know that that's like sitting there and yelling at a tornado to stop. It's just not going to work out well for you. But at the same time, if you're sitting there and you're being honest with yourself, then you're going to go ahead and have a situation where you're able to make an informed decision regarding your life. And you really should make an informed decision when it regards your life, because unfortunately, there's very few opportunities to take back a mistake. There really are. A lot of the choices that you make are very permanent choices. And taking back those choices on the rare opportunity that you can, again, it's kind of like getting a tattoo. The removal of that choice tends to be very painful, and it leaves a scar anyway. There's a lasting mark. But like when you're going ahead, like if you're one of those people that wants to go ahead and date a woman, I'm not going to dog on you for it. But the thing is I'm just saying be careful. Be aware of what can happen. Be aware of what can go wrong. And make choices accordingly. Don't blindly trust. Blindly trusting is one of the worst things that you can do in today's society, because there's a lot of people out there that are more than willing to fuck you over to get a little bit farther ahead in life. It's just, it's an unfortunate part of our society. It's an unfortunate part of human nature. We are a very competitive species. Yes, we are a social species, but we are a competitive one. And you've got men that are hyper-competitive. You got women that are hyper-competitive. You got different people that use different tactics. But the thing is the end goal is the same, and that is getting ahead. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that. There really isn't. All right, Hawkboy just sat there and said the best-selling sex bot will be one that constantly moans and bitches so you can switch it off. That was funny, dude. That was a good one. 10 out of 10. Oh, oh God. But yeah, no, me and Dilgap haven't done our sex bot episode yet. I'm gonna have to go ahead and get together with him, and we're gonna have to go ahead and do that. I completely forgot about that. I'm pretty sure he completely forgot about that. But yeah. No, as far as sex bots are concerned, I think it's kind of funny that all of a sudden news coverage of sex bots and all that stopped once they realized the more that they covered the sex bots, the more curious people got about it, and the more people went to the sites to look them up and that sort of thing, and more people started ordering them. I think that's absolutely fucking hilarious. Like I said, you know, when they started sitting there and bashing and trying to use shaming language and that sort of thing in the media, I was all like, all you're doing is giving these bots press. People that are going to be buying these things aren't going to care what you say to begin with. So at this point, all you're doing is the people who end up seeing this shit and end up going to it, they're going to be more likely to buy it because of the pure and simple fact that they really don't give a shit. You know, they don't care what you think about them, and now they have even less of a reason to give a shit about what you think. You know, it's a self-feeding issue. Good luck, guys. You're not going to beat that. Johnny says, I want a sex bot with no legs so it won't run. Oh, God. Oh, I love you guys. You guys are awesome. But but yeah, as far as sex bots are concerned, me and Dilgaff are going to go ahead and have a discussion about that, about the positives and the negatives, all that shit. So I'll cover that in that stream with him. I'll get together with him and do it. Neo says it wouldn't run with legs. But no, the thing is actually, it's kind of funny that y'all brought up sex bots, because that actually allows me to segue into what I was going to say, and that is MGTOW is one of those situations. Like, a lot of people are asking why MGTOW is coming around now. Well, MGTOW's been around for a lot longer than people think. It's just really started to boom out and become its own thing recently. There have been a lot of confirmed bachelors throughout history and that sort of thing, which followed the basic premise of MGTOW. You know, but basically viewed women as more of a distraction than as a hindrance, per se. I mean, I know a distraction is a hindrance in and of itself, but they viewed it as a slightly different thing. Whereas now, current MGTOW is viewing women as more of a danger. And it's true. I mean, women at this point, like, when you get into a relationship with a woman, it's a little bit of a dangerous thing. There's a lot that can be used against you, and there's almost no defenses for you. So, you know, it's one of those things. That's the reason why I say, you know, be cautious if you are going to go out and date. Be very, very cautious, especially once sex gets involved, because now you are tempting fate. But the thing is a lot of people are asking why sex bots are even a thing. You know, they're all like, well, they can't give the emotional support that a woman can. Dude, a can of baked beans can give more emotional support than some women nowadays. Hell, the result of eating a can of baked beans can give better emotional support than a woman nowadays in some cases. Love is a tyranny, dude. It truly is. Because the thing is with love, you are basically capitulating to the other person. at least as far as romantic love is concerned. And that's coming from a guy's perspective. As far as a woman's perspective is concerned, it's not really so much capitulation anymore. It's more of a, all right, I accept what you can do for me for now. Until her hypergamy kicks in and she decides to fucking trade up. But no, the issue the issue that I see as far as, you know, the male-female dynamic, this is going to be crossing MGTOW and political, basically pulling me into MRA territory. But the problem that I see with that is the fact that there's every punishment in the world for a man whenever a contract is broken between a man and a woman. Whereas when a woman breaks the contract between a man and a woman, it's the man that typically pays the fucking price. And even if the woman does pay a price for it, it's much lesser than what the man would have paid. But that is a rarity. And like I said, I don't argue the exception. And a lot of people try to say, oh, well, you know, divorces are getting less and less. It's like, yeah, but marriage is getting less and less too. Less and less people are getting married because the thing is guys are realizing that if they get hit with child support, that's bad, yes, but if they get hit with child support and alimony, which stack on each other, well, that's a double debuff and you're fucked. You know, at this point now, it's really hard for you to move forward, at least for the next like 18 to 24 years. That's a long time to be held down when your average lifespan is about 80 years. You know, that's a pretty good chunk of that time. And so now we're getting sex bots, and people are sitting there and saying, oh, well, nee. Women typically are never at fault for failed marriage. Do you want to restate that, Neo? How about women typically are never found to be at fault for a failed marriage by the legal system or by society at large? Because the thing is when you have a failed marriage, the thing is the failure is always two ways. The failure is always two ways. Because the thing is even let's say let's go ahead and talk about, you know, an extreme. All right, let's say a woman, you know, got married to a guy, and the woman started going out sleeping with every other guy out there, denied their denied the guy that they were married sex, had kids from several other fucking guys, that sort of thing. Marriage fucking fails. Well, the thing is it was still a failure on that guy's part for not seeing those red flags beforehand as well. Typically. I mean, some women are really good at hiding those red flags. Let's be honest. I mean, it's actually a statistical fact. Women are better at lying. That's not me being sexist. But they tend to be better at lying because they're more in tune with their facial expressions, their body language, all that sort of shit. So it makes them better at lying. Let's see. When you're done tonight, go to MGTOW is Freedom and view his latest video. It's an absolute cracker. One of John's very best. I sat with jaw dropped. All right. With no fault divorce laws in every state, the guy is typically screwed in the divorce. Very much so, yes. Because the thing is they actually default to no fault. Like even if the guy comes up, if he's the one who filed for the divorce, which is a rarity, but let's say the guy did file for a divorce and he's all like, well, I have video of my wife in our marital bed sucking some other guy's fucking dick while I was at work. The judge will sit there and say, oh, well, you know, that, you know, it's a no fault divorce, so you have to fucking pay her alimony. What? No. At that point, that is fault divorce. That is proof of her breaking the fucking contract. Part of the contract of marriage is that you are not going to sleep with other fucking people. And as we found out with Bill Clinton, yes, oral sex is sexual relations. So yeah, that's its own fucking thing. But yeah, no, when it comes to no fault divorce, like I said, that's the worst thing to ever fucking happen to society. Once no fault divorce came around, that was pretty much the beginning of the end for the viability of marriage socially. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of scary as to how much a guy is expected to put up with nowadays, as far as any kind of emotional abuse or whatever. And Neo says unjust laws are why I'm MGTOW. Yes, a lot of men are that way because that's usually the turning point. But again, that comes down to men typically being more logically based than emotionally based. Because they see those unjust laws, they see the bullshit going on, and then they're all like, why in the fuck would I want to be a part of that? Fair enough. Fair enough. You know what? Like if you're sitting there and you're playing a fucking board game and, you know, everyone else is able to go ahead and move regular, but you've got this whole special set of rules that you have to follow that keep you from moving forward at any decent pace, almost guaranteeing that you're going to fucking lose. Why are you going to fucking play that game? You're not. You're not going to invest your time. You're not going to invest your effort. But it's actually not uncommon for a lot of guys to say that they've gone MGTOW primarily because of the unjust laws and the fact that it's showing no signs of fucking changing. So honestly, Neo, it doesn't surprise me that you say that. In fact, that's part of the reason why I went MGTOW is because of the unjust laws. But then also at the same time, I look at societal norms. I look at all of these different things. And it's always the same fucking tone, you know? And again, it comes with living in a gynocentric society. Eventually you take notice of it and you're all like, wait a minute, this shit isn't adding up. This shit isn't aligning with reality. And so a lot of guys are all like, well, you know what? Fuck this. If you're going to sit there and say that I'm horrible for women, well, what's the best course of action? Oh, well, I won't interact with women anymore. But then they bitch and complain that you're not interacting with women. Now, why would that be? Oh, because the thing is what's the most valued currency in today's society? As far as Western societies is concerned, victim points. If you can't claim to be a victim of something, then you don't have that currency and you can't cash it in for a quick buck. And the thing is if men decide to turn around and walked away, and women can't blame men for all their fucking problems anymore, then they're going to have to start saying that they're victims of each other, which they actually have started doing. And so, as you can see, they're willing to do whatever it takes to get those victim points. At the beginning, I said, you know, there is this propensity for people to have own group preference. I still stand by that, but that doesn't mean that they're not willing to fuck over people in their own group. They will fuck over people, a select few people in their own group to go ahead and get ahead. And so at this point, we're now starting to see, you know, with men walking away and just saying, you know what, I don't give a fuck. Now that indifference is playing against shit like feminism and all that. Because now, men being indifferent, they're trying to say that being indifferent is being sexist. No, that's actually the opposite of being sexist. Not giving a shit about someone's gender guess what? That's not being sexist in any way, shape, or form. If you don't even recognize someone's fucking gender, you're all like, no, you're just a human. And I'm going to treat you just like I would any other human. That's not racist. That's not sexist. That's not any of that shit. It's not bigoted in any way. In fact, bigotry cannot exist in that type of vacuum. Because the thing is the way that you have to, the thing that you need for bigotry is to have an other. If you don't look at people as others, as people outside of the group, then you cannot be a bigot. It is a actual logical impossibility at that point. And so now that people are starting to point that little fucking tidbit out, they're sitting there and they're starting to go after the people who are focusing on gender or who are focusing on race and all that. And now they're starting to rip into each other. A lot of MGTOWs have been saying this. They've been saying that this is going to be the result of MGTOW, is that these same groups that have been causing the issues since the very beginning are going to start ripping each other apart because they're now losing targets because men are taking themselves off the target range. And we're just sitting back, popping some popcorn, and watching it all go down. And I must admit, it is very fucking entertaining, at least to someone like me. Have yourself a good night, Neo. But it's very entertaining to watch these very same groups start to rip each other apart. Because the thing is what was their goal initially? To divide. So now that they can't divide these other groups anymore, now that they've gotten to the point where they can't infiltrate that group anymore, all of a sudden they start dividing their own group. They just can't fucking help themselves. And so they weaken themselves to the point of absolute fucking stupidity. I don't see a fucking problem with it. Because the fact of the matter is the more weak they make themselves, the more desperate they get, and the less logical arguments they make. And the more people see the bullshit, the more mistakes that they make, the more gaffes that they fucking make. And eventually people are just going to sit there and tell them to sit down, shut up before they hurt themselves anymore. We saw it happen with Hillary Clinton. I mean, she was sitting there trying to do the, I have a vagina, therefore I deserve the presidency. Because no other vagina has had the presidency before. No, that's not actually a qualifying factor for the presidency. Your genitals do not fucking matter. They really fucking don't. And people are sick and tired of the identity politics being an actual politics. And the thing is MGTOW is a symptom of that. In fact, MGTOW is one of the answers to it. It's the answer to gender politics. So that is a thing. But also at the same time, you know, like, you've got race politics, you got religious politics, and you got all this fucking bullshit in identity politics. And you're starting to see these groups that are basically akin to MGTOW just based off of, you know, whatever politics are there. And you're starting to see them pop up. And that is actually just kind of the natural course of things. I mean, we've seen it happen throughout history constantly. And don't get me wrong. Some people are going to have some issues with it. Because there are some people that honestly believe that identity politics is an important thing. I am not one of those people. I truly don't care if you're male or female. I don't care if you're black or white. I don't care if you're Asian or Hispanic. I don't give a fuck. What I care about is the actions that you take, the choices that you make in your life. I care about the quality of your character. That's how I judge people. I am colorblind. I don't really see gender or anything like that. The only reason why I see women as women is just because I know that I have to be cautious in today's society, because one false fucking claim can fuck your entire life up as a guy. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be cautious there. But I don't really treat women any differently. I'm just as cautious around guys, because the thing is, you know, at the same time, you know, I've had guys fuck me over in the past. You know, it's just part of the human condition. We fuck each other over. You know, I mean, come the fuck on. But the thing is it's much more difficult for a guy to effectively fuck over another guy in today's society. It's much more difficult. Whereas with women, they have every tool at their disposal. The hardest choice that they have there isn't whether or not they're going to fuck you over. It is, how are they going to fuck you over? You know, they have a choice of too many tools to do so. You know, oh, am I going to fuck this person over with false rape claim? Oh, am I going to fuck this person over by claiming that they're a sexist? Oh, am I going to, you know, fuck this person over because, you know, I'm going to say that they're a misogynist, even though there's no proof to that effect. There's a lot of ways for guys to get fucked over as far as the legal aspect is concerned. And like I was talking about with Neo before he ended up going to bed, you know, a lot of guys go MGTOW because of that legal bullshit. Because the thing is that legal bullshit also leads to societal views. And a lot of people are like, how did we get to this legal point? Well, there's a couple ways that we got here. Now, you're going to have some MGTOWs that are sitting there and saying, well, it's because we gave women the right to vote. I can't necessarily argue with it, because women are obviously going to vote for their own self-interest. But again, there's nothing inherently wrong with that. I mean, honestly, who's not going to fucking go for their own self-interest? Not everyone is the most selfless person on the fucking planet. We're biological entities. We're kind of designed to take our own self-interest to heart. But the thing is when you take it to the point of fucking over people that aren't like you, that's when it becomes a fucking problem. When you go out of your way to hinder people who aren't like you, for no other reason than the fact that they aren't like you, then that is when it becomes morally reprehensible. That's when all of a sudden nature no longer becomes an excuse. It no longer is a valid reason. But I honestly think that what really kicked all of the legal issues off as far as the divide between men and women, the one crowning moment that I can think of actually is the Duluth model. Once that was placed in, that was when everything went to hell. That was when you started seeing the breakdown of the family. That was when you started seeing the breakdown of marriages. That's when you started seeing the breakdown of male-female relations. Then after that, you had the sexual revolution. Again, it was one of those things where women tried to keep the same price of the pussy, but they flooded the market. So again, you've got an issue. And it's just one thing after another, and it all has a giant snowball effect. Everything builds on what came before. And right now, trying to fight against it is like trying to fight against an avalanche. You're not really going to make that much of a difference, and you're going to get buried. You know the best way to fight against an avalanche? Get out of its way and then clean up the mess once it's done. That's pretty much it. And I know that that's an absolute, that a lot of people are like, well, that's the same as just giving up. No, it's not. It's recognizing that you can't stop this force. Masculine wish. Masculine. Yeah, Masculine-ish said the cunt pounding. The thing is when I sit there and I say, you know, get out of the way and then clean up the mess afterwards, basically at that point, it's just kind of, yeah, basically escape prior and take advantage of the aftermath. Exactly, masculine. The thing is it's not so much taking advantage of the aftermath, it's letting the shit run its course. Go, all right, so let's not do that again. Let's not repeat that mistake. Let's go ahead and see the damage that was caused. Let's clean it up and let's avoid it. Maybe don't build your town right underneath of a cliff of ice. And a lot of people are sitting there and trying to say, well, that is the same as giving up. No, it's not. The thing is there's a difference between being courageous and being stupid. Being stupid is doing something that you know is going to cost you your life. Whereas being courageous is doing something that's important that you think may cost you your life, but doing everything that you can to have it not cost you your life while accomplishing your goal. Hawkboy said, I skipped marriage, babies, and went straight for the divorce. Oh, God, that would be a feminist dream, wouldn't it? It's all like just walk up to a man and hand him divorce papers, never having to be married to him. God, that would be a fucking dystopian nightmare. Oh, that's something that you'd see in an old version of Sliders. Jesus Christ. But yeah. But the thing is there is kind of a silver lining to all this. The thing is we're getting to see unfettered female nature, and it's now being documented in a major fucking way. So after this has fucking kind of blown over, if we survive it as a species, then yeah, we can go ahead and learn from it and be all like, yeah, you see, this is the reason why. This is the reason why we need to keep female nature in check. RP says, stop giving them ideas. Seriously. Oh my God. I swear to God, if some feminist fucking watches my fucking video and then actually writes a thing saying, we should do this, I'm gonna fucking flip. I mean, like, no, stop. I was saying this because of the absurdity of it. Oh. But no, the thing is Like female nature, like it is a part of nature, you know, it is a force of nature. But the thing is it's one that we actually can somewhat control. But the thing is we just have to be willing to. And a lot of us just aren't willing to control it. Especially nowadays, because now controlling female nature is something that's relegated to feminists and the like. Unfortunately, it's one of the most destructive forces known to man, because the thing is it's one of the primary weaknesses of men. But the thing is we are now seeing that destructive force and how bad it is for society when we let it run amok. And so after this is all said and done, we'll have documentation of it, and we can point back to this and go, yeah, see, that's what happens. Let's never let that happen again. Let's put in these safeguards, whether it be societal or legal or both. Well, you see, Mascule said, thing is, they won't ever but consider you irrelevant. And the thing is, you know, everyone was saying that about MGTOW when it first really started to become a big thing, when it really started to get out there. And the thing is, here we are. Now they're sitting there and going after MGTOW specifically. They don't consider MGTOW irrelevant. They consider MGTOW one of the biggest enemies that they fucking have, because they know that the only way that men can win in this game is to walk off the fucking board. And actually, earlier in Dilgaff's stream, I watched it for a little bit, and I ended up making a comment because he was talking about, you know, shaming language and all that sort of thing. And I said, people trying to shame MGTOW and all of that, you keep hearing, you know, people saying, oh, they're trying to pull you back onto the plantation. Well, I took it to its full analogy, basically. And that is, I sat there and said, shaming men for going MGTOW is the same as calling blacks greedy for refusing to be slaves. So the thing is when I say that, I mean that. I mean, because the thing is if you actually look at marriage, honestly, what are the benefits to a man? There really aren't any. Oh, you get to be a provider. Okay, so that's not a benefit. Oh, you get to work longer hours in a job that you fucking hate. Oh, great. Hooray. Oh, you get to be responsible for one or more other people's well-being and be held to that standard by the law. Woohoo. Such a benefit. You can't even sit there and say, oh, well, you get sex on the regular. Because no. In fact, studies have shown that married couples have sex a lot less than couples who cohabitate. And they have sex even less often than couples who do not cohabitate. So you can't even say you get sex on the regular. Basically, you putting a ring on that fucking finger dries up that pussy faster than anything else. Sounds like indentured servitude to me. Taking on a bunch of responsibility that is punishable by actual jail time or whatever, with no payment for services rendered? Huh. And that's the reason why I get a lot of people coming on my channel trying to say that I'm a hateful person. Because the thing is I don't candy coat shit. I'm fat enough as it is. I don't need to be putting candy on shit. Well, you see, the thing is Mascule, keep an eye out for when me and Dilgaff do our stream on sex bots and relevant technology to that. You might find it interesting, man. Like, seriously, honestly. I know that's a little bit of shameless self-promotion there, but also at the same time, it might be something that actually interests you. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to leave off here, guys, because I actually have something that I have to go ahead and do. I didn't realize the time, so I'm going to have to cut off the stream a little bit early. Have yourselves a nice day. I'll talk to y'all later. Feel free to go ahead and watch my other videos. If you're new to the channel, feel free to just go ahead and subscribe. I usually release videos pretty rapidly, but right now I got a lot going on in my life, so my release schedule is a little bit chaotic, we'll say. But I'm still trying to release videos as I can, and I'm also trying to do live streams as I can. So have yourselves a nice day. Talk to y'all later. Stay free. Stay MGTOW. Have a nice day.